I think it's pretty damn bearish crude in a way, long term, because if you're going to put a cap on that rally on gasoline, and I don't think any of us particularly believe in distillates. I've never really sat here in the last 6 weeks being like, there's a reason to be bullish distillates. Then the fuel oil and this low sulfur fuel, we don't have a story for that either, really.
No.
This is all indicating that the macro oil market, like the real solid, like looking at the oil market demand, it's not really the state of it and what the prices are saying, I think might be out of whack. And I think that's a good indication. Gasoline not being able to perform despite, potentially a good bullish setup means that was the kind of thing you'd be, if you thought it was a proper bull market, you would expect that to rally.
Yep.
If that's not, and the things that are holding up the refinery margin are making this market bullish from a product perspective are fuel oil and low sulfur fuel, and we haven't got a great story for that, and these things are super out of whack.
Yeah.
And if it turns out the local, like the physical premiums around the areas of the benchmark are not that high, I'd be pretty worried that the margins, which we've kind of been calling for, should compress very quickly.
Yeah.
And if everything starts to compress very quickly, or at least if the refinery margin crack rolls, if you like the refinery margin in near months versus the forward curve is backwardated, right? So if that rolls off and you get, look at Q4 margins and they're a lot weaker, if that kind of rolls down, all of a sudden you've got a really weak refinery margin kind of environment, and we were calling for high sulfur fuel shorts in Q4 last week. If that all does materialize and gasoline doesn't perform, and suddenly low sulfur and high sulfur fuel compress very quickly, suddenly you're in a very weak refinery margin market all of a sudden, and you don't have a spot market that's performing that much in the local North Sea markets, and then you've got potentially more OPEC supply. That's pretty damn bearish, the whole oil market.